Div agus Foite. Hello and welcome. So if you look up here, you see that long I, which is an E sound, and over here it's written I Fada, they're capital and lowercase. And alongside it, you see that I colon, which is how it's represented in the International Phonetic Alphabet. And of course, in our screen again, we have 2 rows, 4 columns, and all these delightful words containing that I Fada, that long I, that we're going to try and pronounce. Okay, let us begin with our first 4, B I Fada O G, B I Fada S, C I Fada O S, and C I Fada S T E. Over to the right, you see them written out in the phonetic alphabet. Let's look at our first one, B I Fada O G. What do I pronounce first? That I Fada. That is the jewel in the crown, so that's E. And of course, the O tells me the G is broad, because O is a broad vowel, Eog. And then Biog, which is basically a movement. Okay, Biog, and you can see it over there, I Fada G, Biog. Okay, Ig Biog, moving. All right, now, look down to our next example, B I Fada S, and again, my I Fada is E, and my S, of course, is slender. That's an ish sound. So, ish, ish, ish. And then the I tells me to be is slender, bish, 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 to be on tenterhooks, excited. So there you have it, I colon, slender S, and slender B, bish. Then I look at my next example, see I Fada O S, and again, I Fada is E, and my O tells me the S is broad, eos, eos. It's not an ish sound, it's eos. And then the I tells me that the C, which is a K, is a slender kios, which is the Irish word for rent. We don't like that word. Okay, I colon S, kios, here you see it in the IPA. And finally, C I Fada S T E, again my I Fada E, and the S, of course, is going to be slender, so it's ish, and my E at the end is A, and the T is slender, which if I just put them together, T, isht, isht, and then the I tells me the C, which is pronounced like a case, and the kisht, kisht, which is an Irish word for a cake, which is a far more delightful word than rent, right? So here's your I colon, slender S, slender T, and that's your slender vowel sound, I at the end of it. Ishte, kisht. Okay, let's look at the next example. D I Fada O L T I S, D I Fada L I S, F I Fada O N, and F I Fada S, and over to our right, there you have them in the phonetic alphabet. Okay, look at our first example, D I Fada O L T I S. What do I pronounce first? My I Fada, which is E. The O tells me the L is broad, Eol, and my final T-I-S, just put them together, tus, Eoltus, and then the I tells me D is slender, Deoltus, which is vengeance. There you see it, I colon, then that's their E sound, broad L, broad T, and there's your O, and your final S, Eoltus, and the slender D, Deoltus. Finally, this one, the I Fada L, the I Fada L-I-S, so my I Fada is my E, the I tells me the L is slender, eel, and my final I-S is my ish sound, eelish, and then of course the deelish, which means loyal or faithful. So here you have it, I colon, slender S, and there's your ish sound, and there's slender S, and then there's slender D, deelish, which means faithful and loyal, as I mentioned. Now, our next example, F I Fada O N, gonna go for my I Fada E, the O tells me N is broad, Ian, and the I tells me the F is slender, Fion, which is wine. We like wine. I colon, Ian, and then the slender F, Fion. And finally, F I Fada S, very straightforward here. Again, I Fada is my first letter I'll pronounce, which is a long vowel, E, and my S is slender, ish, so it's fish. The F is slender, fish, okay, which is the Irish word for a vision. And here you have it, I colon, slender S, fish. Okay, I hope you found this presentation helpful, and that you're actually starting to see how all this comes together. Good night, live. Best of luck. It's good to meet Mahagav.